A consumer alert this morning: rent prices are soaring, and that's pricing people out, making the idea of homeownership more of a pipe dream these days. And joining us to talk more about those rising rent prices and the mortgage situation out there is Assistant Professor of Finance at Stetson University, Dr. Matthew Imes. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
I want to talk about the number that came out on Zillow, and it reported the average rent price across the country is about $1,900 a month. It seems extraordinarily high. Why is that number so high?
I think we're seeing such high prices for several main factors. So one is that as we come out of the tail end of the pandemic, a lot of people have been working from home and consequently spending a lot more time at home. And so this has increased demand for moving. On top of that, we've got residential builders have been underbuilding since the 07-08 subprime mortgage crisis. So we have a housing shortage, which we see in the market for owned houses, as well as it's leaking into the rental market. And then finally, Florida in particular is a top destination for moving. So we see a lot of people moving to Florida and the southern states in particular.
Right, which of course means no inventory. And as you know, right, it's all about the demand, right? The prices go up, the more demand there is.
Right.
I want to talk about how this sort of impacts the overall economy as well, right? Because we're paying more for everything, not just housing. We're talking about groceries, gas. The gas prices are the highest we've ever seen them. How does that impact the overall economy?
Well, it puts a lot of Americans in a tight spot because they have rising costs in groceries and gas and utilities, and they also have higher housing costs. So I think in the short run, we're going to see people having to make trade-offs. In the long run, hopefully things improve.
I want to talk about the long run. You brought it up. What do you foresee in the long run? Because a lot of people believe that the housing market numbers are going to start coming down just like the stock market is coming down.
So we've seen the Federal Reserve raising interest rates rapidly earlier this year and even this month. And so in the long run, as the rates rise, we should see a slowing of the housing market growth and maybe even a leveling off. And that should help some with both a tight labor market and with inflation as well. But it might take a while to get there.
Are there any fears that we could have a situation like we had back in 2008, or is it different this time around?
I think the biggest fear with inflation is that it might become embedded. At the moment, it's painful, and it's painful for everyone. But if it becomes embedded, that's a point in our economy where employers and lenders are going to expect or will begin to expect that inflation will be persistent and will last a while. And so we'll begin to see that embedded inflation in cost of living adjustments year after year and in long-term interest rates and things like that. And it's harder to eliminate embedded inflation than it is to eliminate like a short-term shortage-based inflation.
I gotcha. These are interesting times for sure. Dr. Matthew Imes, thank you so much for breaking it down for us from Stetson University. We appreciate you. Go Hatters.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.